Assalamu alaikum, ni ne Abubakar Abdulhamid. Last time mun yi video akan FM bus da sauransu inverse of a function. So yau za mu ci gaba da domain of a function. So menene domain of a function? Shine duka values na x, intervals, values of x gaba daya inda function din is defined. For example, a function like this, f of x is equal to 2x square or 2x. It is a straight line, like this. So the function is defined everywhere. A value of x, when x equals to 1, when x is equals to 1 here, that y is equals to 2. When x equals, it is defined everywhere. Function in ya ci gaba da tafiya har y equals to negative infinity to y equals to infinity, right? So function is only by the limits, by the boundary, right? So abin da yake faruwa shine the domain of this function is just all numbers. Babu number da zamu sa nan muke samun answer, say what? Negative infinity da positive infinity. So tunda haka ne zamu ce so the domain of this function is all real numbers. All real numbers. From negative infinity to infinity, it's like this. Here is infinity, here is negative infinity. So the number da muka sa tsakanin nan banda infinity. To tunda banda infinity din sai mu sa wannan parenthesis. Kar mu sa wannan square bracket din. In muka sa square bracket din muna nufin hada wannan boundary din. Kuma mu banda infinity. In muka sa infinity we don't know the answer is infinity. Right? So wannan shine domain of the function. One straight line. And in case of square root, in case of abin da gare mu cikin square root, it is defined only idan abin da ke nan ciki is positive. Menene is positive? It is greater than or equals to 0. It is positive or 0, so it is greater than or equals to 0. So case x minus 1 is 0 when x is 1. So this function is defined when x is 1 or greater than 1, because when x is less than 1, this answer will be negative, right? Because, for example, let's try 0, which is less than 1. 0 minus 1 is square root of negative 1, we don't know, it's undefined. So in this case, the domain of this function is only from 1 to where? To infinity. 1 is included because it is 0, square root of 0. Infinity is not included. So muna da parenthesis wannan kuma muna da square bracket, right? So let us and also when you have log, for example, log of x, so x then has to be positive. So idan ba positive bane ba ka iya gano ln ko log na negative number ko kuma log of 0 ko ln of 0. So therefore it has to be positive only. In this case, for example, you have x minus 1. So x minus 1 has to be greater than 0. One and anything x has to be greater than 1. So the domain of this function will be from 1 to infinity, because a number line, you have infinity here, you have negative infinity. Here you have 1. Function is defined from 1 to infinity. Is 1 included? Test 1. So 1 minus 1, 0. Then 0 is undefined. So 1 is not included. But from 1 to where? To infinity. Infinity number is not included in the domain. So this is the domain of this function. This is the domain of this. And in case of division, you have to avoid dividing by what? By 0. Because when you divide by 0, function in is not defined. When f of x is equals to this, function in cannot be defined in kind of division by 0. So your shading on the function in zama 0, you have to find it. When x equals to what? Negative 1. Because negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Yeah, that x plus 1 is 0. Solve for x is equals to negative 1. So at this point, this function is 0. We have to avoid one number in this case. Zamu duka wata number on number line, infinity, negative infinity, idan da negative 1 din yana, zamu duka interval zamu mi avoid wannan. So that is the domain will be from negative infinity to negative 1, and from negative 1 to infinity. I'm on a bracket. Wannan zamu sa square bracket, because idan muka sa infinity a nan, zamu samu 1 all over negative infinity, which is 0. Idan muka sa infinity also, negative infinity daga farko, yanzu idan muka sa infinity a nan, za mu samu 1 over infinity and it is 0. So wannan are included, but -1 no, it's not included because until we have to avoid it, right? So the domain of this function is 1 union this. So this is it. Let us solve some problems. This get and therefore shikenan mun gama da domain of a function. Suppose you have a function okay, 1 all over x squared minus 9. You are asked to find the domain of this function. Yeah, lucky. Let us say you have 5x here. Abinda za ka yi anan shine 5x ba ranka da ita. It is defined everywhere. Denominator kawai za ka lura shi kar ya zama 0. Yaushe ne yake 0? Sai mu avoid the numbers din. Yaushe yake 0? Let us find. This is 9. And therefore you take square root of both sides. So you can add a plus or minus. Do not at the square root. So x is -3 or +3. At this point, one function is not defined because they making the denominator is 0. In case of square root, for example, you have f of x is equals to square root of x minus 9. Also, this thing has to be greater than 0 or equals to 0. X has to be greater than or equals to 9. Greater than or equals to 9, that means from 9 to where? To infinity. 9 is included because the makasata is 0. This is the domain of this function. Okay? And if you have f of x is equals to ln x minus x squared minus 4, for example. Or let me say x minus 4. This then has to be positive. So x has to be greater than 0, not or equals to. So x has to be what? Greater than 4. So the domain of this function will be from what? From 4 to infinity. Is 4 included? No, because in Makasat of Nanchiki, muna the len 0. So len 0 is undefined. So one non-bracket. Len infinity got that chiki. So this is the domain of this function. So this is next videos I mean solving more examples than Zamugano range of a function. And yes, that is it about function. Subscribe to our channel and share the video and like it. Thank you for watching.